don't go too far. And like that's essentially giving a warning without physically saying that's a warning. And I think phrasing it like that, because then you're telling them like, okay, if I keep going, he's going to eject me from the game. But if you just go, hey, that's enough, I mean, that would kind of set me off too as a player. And so you can use those tools. You can find different ways to give warnings without officially saying that's enough.
Yeah.
Hey, Brennan.
If I can go ahead.
No, you go ahead, buddy. Go.
Okay, so I just wanted to also just kind of tag this on the end, just from being a veteran, like, and having de-escalation training. I think that's like another big key, right? Because we've all seen like where another umpire, maybe gets triggered because somebody wants to argue with them, and it doesn't help the situation. And I think how we respond is like a huge one. Like I had a kid, like 16, 17, U travel ball last weekend, and a championship game, rung him up, and it was the final out of the inning. He didn't say anything, but like he kind of turned around and gave me like one of those like long, like if looks could kill kind of stares. And then I heard some, chirping from what I assumed was his mom. But I let it slide. I threw a new ball out to the mound, and I just walked over. I was like, "Hey, buddy, come here real quick." And then I asked him. I said, "You play school ball, right?" And he said, "Yeah." And I said, "Okay." I said, "What happens if you do that in a high school game? Like, what's the rule?" He said, "Ejected." I said, "Absolutely." I said, "Do you want to be ejected from this game?" He said, "No." I said, "All right, well, we're going to be done with that, right?" He said, "Yes, sir, absolutely." He apologized. And after the game, he come and shook my hand. I was like, "Look, dude, I used to be a player. Emotions get the best of us. It happens." But even doing that and going and standing beside a coach who might be too lippy and just being like, "Hey, coach, listen, between you and I, we're not going to do that anymore. Keep it here. I don't want to embarrass you. I don't want you to embarrass me. Like, let's leave it here." And I've had good responses from that.
That's great. No, and actually that's something I was going to cover a little bit later on here with some of the other videos is like handling it afterwards like that, I think is a strong approach and it humanizes us. So I think that was great. Chris, did you have something you wanted to add there?
No, I was just going to say, speaking for college, what Manny did in that video, if that would happen in a college game, is extremely rare. I mean, very rare. College batters will argue about pitches, but they're not going to get right into your face. And I think if that would have happened to me in that case, it's an automatic warning. But unfortunately, we have to use "this is your official warning on balls and strikes" verbiage, because if we don't, then it's not really a warning. We can't say or "knock it off" or "I've heard enough" is a warning. But I think if that happened, it would be straight to a warning, and then go back to your dugout. You're going to get ejected, and then you throw him out if he doesn't. But that's a weird one. I mean, you're showing pro stuff. I mean, from my standpoint, this would be like a 1% thing in a college game. You don't see him just get right in your face like that.
Good stuff there, Chris, and appreciate the sharing the anecdote there, Caleb. Steve S., did you still have something? I know you had your hand raised a minute ago, but so I'm not sure if you still have something to share there before we move on.
Just real quick, I know I took up a lot of time.
No,
but just
go ahead,
real
Joe.
quick.
Yeah.
While Chris is right, I think with this whole NIL thing and this player empowerment, you're going to see more of that, especially with now. Not saying you'll see what Manny Machado did, but you'll see more players. 10 years ago in college baseball, players said nothing.